We begin in a fight with a Battlemaster in the Temple of Cord. The Battlemaster easily outmatched us, teasing us with swipes from his many blades while asking us what we fight for. Each of us answered in turn, Jessica to protect her friends, Leucis for freedom, Tonph for Geth, Brontor for family, and myself, Dryden, for chaos. Finally convincing the Battlemaster of our sincerity, the Battlemaster sheathed his swords and we had passed the trial. The Acolytes of Cord in turn celebrated. After finding an inn, we searched for answers to what we might find as we continued into the mine, and we learned of two dwarf clans, the Emberhides and the Nightmantles. After failing to gain entry to the home of the Nightmantles due to Brontor being a blood hunter, I solved the issue by lightly tossing him through the door. Luckily, the poor bastard was faster with his tongue than he was with his feet and was able to quickly smooth over the situation with them. As they led Brontor off to their library, we came across the sentencing of a man named Balan. As a priestess of Bahamut, Jessica recognized the proceedings as against the church. She questioned the man to determine his innocence and managed to stop the inevitable murder. Balan committed himself to finding justice for the families he found slaughtered and joined us. Of course, I had heard of this story later due to the fact that I was a snake in Tonph's bag headed to the Battlemaster. Poor Tonph was entirely unlucky reaching out to the Battlemaster, but being something of a master of battle myself, I understood his techniques. I sat for hours, waiting in peace for the Battlemaster to summon me. Hours later, the Battlemaster spoke with me through my thoughts. He told me that what I was searching for is below Mirabar in the mines. I asked about the potential of ever seeing Geth again, and the Battlemaster said it's not a wise thing to pursue and that it would be selfish an act. However, he did say that there are ways to bring people back. I thanked the Battlemaster and took my leave. The next day we headed to the Emberhide mines, where we were caught in a poor display of deception as a flurry of tentacles erupted from the earth. The tentacles were those of Rathar, a vicious foe for some, but a short scrap for the Rad Squad. We took a turn down a side tunnel where we heard a clamoring of sorts. This sound belonged to a horde of undead, which we picked off one by one until Jessica, in one furious attack, dispatched the whole group. Leucis was left in dismay, knowing the bounty which we could have collected on the heads of the undead was lost.
Our adventurers braved the Emberhide mines further to discover a hidden encampment. The mysterious encampment was occupied by a cult of some terrible individuals who were sacrificing the dwarves into an even more mysterious pit. Being the fearless adventurer that I am, I walked tall and confident into their ranks. Yes, I was invisible, but they didn't know that. I made my way to the top of the stand in the center of the camp and slung some incredible spells to get the attention of the whole cult. Well, some of them anyway. Let's just say that the rest didn't make it out of the mines alive. After a well-deserved night of rest, and some shenanigans by Tonph and Dryden, we descend into the sacrificial pit to discover a giant hidden maze. Our first obstacle presents itself immediately as a group of rabid brains attacks us. Jessica, Dryden, and Balan fall under the brain spells as they fall to the ground catatonic. I guess it's my turn to save the group. Again.
After some exploring, we found ourselves stuck in a room that was filled with gas, and we were able to escape with the help of Dagos, or more commonly known as Dingus or Dorito. After escaping the room, we heard a mysterious voice bellow through the cave. After I mildly freaked out, thinking there was yet another voice in my head, we learned that we had to collect 3 keys from various keymasters down here in the dark depths. We made our way through the labyrinth and eventually came across a weird skull room. After a few minutes in the skull room, we all saw this weird blur of motion and we were ambushed by some weird tentacled arm thingy. After duking it out with the weird tentacly armed thingy, we were able to defeat the weirdo. With the first key obtained and the group well rested, we began traversing the cave to find the next key. Glancing around, Brontor is able to spot a weird shadow coming from the bony room. Next thing I know, Jessica is getting attacked by this huge blue dude. We quickly disposed of him thanks to my amazing arrow skills. Leucis took the head of the beast and put it in his body hole. Once that was done, the group went back into the boot room and was messing around with pillars for a bit. I don't know exactly what they were doing. I was off making a new nose for Leucis. But after a little bit, we ran into a weird fellow named Rash. Not too long after, we all decided to get some sleep. It wasn't too long after we fell asleep that I had the craziest dream. We were all in this crazy box with a ever-expanding gas, and everyone was fighting. Brontor was trying to shoot his crossbow at me, Jessica summoned a huge vanilla porter, and Leucis was nowhere to be seen. Because I didn't want anyone to come after me, I tactically set up some thorns to prevent anyone from getting too close. After a while, both Dryden and Jessica decided to team up on me, which was totally not cool. I did my best to fend them off, but they kept coming. Eventually, I dealt what I thought to be a fatal blow to Dryden, but I guess since it was a dream, he somehow survived a shot straight through the heart. Totally would have won, but in my opinion, Dryden cheated. Anyways, after waking up from our weird dream, we all shared, in which I totally won. We continued down the labyrinth. Brontor decided to take the charge, and we eventually got to a point where I had to use my amazing deftness to cross some traps. We then came across a room that was filled with some amazing pocket sand. There was so much pocket sand. Put as much as I could in my pockets, and it turns out the next key guy was actually in that pocket sand room. We duked it out with the big dude, and I slew the beast with my amazing short sword. Come to think of it, it's been months since I've actually needed to use that sword. Anyways, it turns out I killed the dude. He probably had the key that we needed now that I'm thinking about it. Anyways, I went there, threw the rope to Dryden, and dived back down in to catch that big giant dude.
Greetings. Allow me to introduce myself. I am the necromancer known as Resh. These challenges that the Rad Squad have been facing are of my design. Deciding to make an alliance with the entity known as Delilah, they successfully retrieved all 3 keys, an unstoned member known as Dagos. At the center of the labyrinth, they fumbled for a time with the final door between them and my inner sanctum, but eventually got through. The group bumbled into one of my arcane sigils, trapping them in an arcane force field. I took the Blood Hunter to begin experiments on him to see what he could endure. A few moments later, I felt the barrier break. Rushing around the soul crystal, I found them free. A battle ensued. What a glorious battle it was. My tentacle abominations fought well, and I was forced to bring forth my blade of pain and fear. It was all for naught. The half-orc sunk his axe into my neck, asking if I liked to play games. I love to play games, were the last words I said before my soul was cast into the waiting darkness. The battle concluded. Dryden investigates the large crystal in the center of the room. A hand of pure shadow pulls both Leucis and Dryden into the crystal. Some quick thinking by Brontor and Jessica, they are able to shatter the crystal, expelling Dryden and Leucis from its depths. Clasped in Leucis' hand is a small, silvery orb. The Orb of Passage. The Rad Squad makes their way back to the city of Mirabar above and claims a handsome sum of 26,000 gold pieces. They spend the night at the Bellows Respite, waking the following morning to find that all their magic items have been stolen from them in the night. An individual known as Wisp Shadowfoot, the gentleman thief, left his calling card. Asking around, the team is able to find a portion of the city where Wisp was last known to operate. Their investigation leads them to a partially burned and deserted house. Lucius's book has writing in it which says, "There's something in this house that is needed." Upon entering the house, the party finds a couple of gargoyles and cloakers. During the battle, Lucius's wild magic bursts forth, casting a spell of banishment on Jessica, who is blinked off the prime material plane. Upon further investigation, they found that this house once belonged to a general who had an advisor named Gertrude. Gertrude was, according to a found journal entry, corrupting and changing the general's mind against his wife. The team presses on, witnessing an apparition of a ball. The general and Gertrude hosting and celebrating upcoming glory. The apparition fades. Proceeding into the basement, the Rad Squad finds a room with a small doll with sapphire eyes. Upon inspecting the doll, a pair of double doors materialize behind them, and an unforeseen force pulls them and the doll into oblivion. Landing in a pitch-black bedroom, the Rad Squad finds the darkness only punctuated by a strange green glow in the ceiling. The voice of Gertrude the Night Hag taunted them from the darkness, indicating that she could see darkness stirring within Dryden. The Rad Squad fought against Gertrude. the doll with the blue eyes, and undead aberrations created by Gertrude. During the battle, Gertrude tapped Dryden's chest and took a piece of him. Dryden, in response, took his hand and pulled the green crystal out of Gertrude's chest. The night hag sang, "Thank you," as her body turned to ash. A jolt burst through the house. Large portions of the house began to collapse all around our heroes. Running for their lives, Dryden and Brontor got buried underneath piles of rubble from the collapsing house. Brontor was able to break free and get out of the house. Dryden attempted to push the beam that was on top of him off, breaking both his arms in the process. With some help from Tonph, Leucis, and Brontor, Dryden was pulled from the wreckage just as the rest of the house collapsed. The Rad Squad found their gear at the gate leading away from the manor, along with another card from Wisp's Shadowfoot saying he owed them one. Our heroes returned to the Bellows Respite for a much-needed rest. What is the piece that the Night Hag took from Dryden? Where will the Orb of Passage lead them? How does all of this fit into the ever-looming threat of giants? Find out as the adventure continues to unfold on the Riot Sessions.